All right, what's up, everybody? This is Joel Hancock from Hancock Law Firm. I am joined by my very excellent brother, Mike Hancock, who is a insurance agent at North Carolina Farm Bureau.
Yes.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So, before we start, we've got to thank the one who made this all a reality, made it happen. None other than Bubba Wheatley, who is the mastermind behind getting the two of us together. I think everyone knew that he was a great political thinker. They did not realize that he was also a great social media marketer. So he got us together. We're probably going to have to turn him into a producer of something like this.
He should get some sort of royalties from this episode.
That's right. Or just blame if it doesn't go right.
Absolutely.
So, so Mike is in insurance at North Carolina Farm Bureau, and we thought that maybe today we would talk about some tips to give either families of young drivers or the teen drivers themselves, either to keep them out of trouble, which is what I like to do, or to keep their insurance rates low, and also to keep them safe. So Mike and I are going to offer some tips about that. So here we go. So number one thing that and this is not in any particular order, but one thing that I always tell people, in fact, I've told this to the teen drivers in my family, and that is, if you're driving and you're in the car, whatever else is in the car is your problem or your responsibility, however you want to look at it. And that usually comes into play when somebody gets stopped, pulled over. They've got a friend with them, and lo and behold, there's drugs or alcohol or something in the car. People think that, it's not mine, that belongs to him, is a defense, but it's really not. It's not illegal to own alcohol or to own drugs. It's illegal in North Carolina to possess those things. And you can possess those things if they're in your car, even if they're not on your person or in your pocket or in the console or something like that. So that's just another way of saying be careful who you let into your car and what you let into the car, because if it's in the car and you're in the car, it's your problem. And then number two, and this usually applies mostly to young guys that have just got their license, but number two is don't make yourself a target. And I'll give you an example of what that looks like. So you turn 16, you buy your first truck, you lift it, you now have this nice fancy lift, and so you want to put 35-inch tires on it, but 35-inch tires are a few $100s a piece, so you buy used ones and you run them all the way down to the metal. So now the tires don't let you pass inspection. You also have a modified muffler, but you couldn't afford the legal way, so you just jerry-rigged it up to where it's super loud now, but not legal. You have an illegal window tint, and you bought the LED lights from China that are way too bright and not legal as well. You can't pass inspection. You get pulled over, and you've got to correct all of those things before you can get the case taken care of. Unfortunately for you, you've made your truck a target now for all law enforcement that knows that you're riding around with unsafe tires, with a inspection or with a car that won't pass inspection, with a window tint that's too dark, with illegal lights and an illegal muffler. So don't make yourself a target. Every time you go through town, you're going to get pulled, and you're going to end up spending more on legal fees than it would have cost to just do all of those modifications and everything right the first time. So it's better to be unnoticed than it is. I mean, and look, I get wanting to be unique and wanting to stand out, but make sure that you're standing out for the right reasons, not for the wrong reasons. So, like I said, don't make yourself a target, and that'll be better for you. All right, Mike, what else can they do?
Okay, so the two things I'd like to talk about today are pretty much twofold. And, by doing one, it's going to affect the other. First of which is, I've lost my train of thought already.
It's all right.
Two things.
It's a safe place.
One is...
This is Bubba's fault.
It is Bubba's fault. What were the two things I was going to say? We were going to talk about...
we're going to talk about how to keep insurance low.
Okay, that's it. Okay, now I'm back on my train of thought. The two things I want to talk about are, one, what you can do to be a safe driver, and then as a result of that, how it's going to keep your premiums low. So, insurance premiums are determined by viewing the risk factor of a driver. And there are several things that an insurance company views to determine what makes you risky as a driver. First and foremost, like Joel was talking about earlier, is how long you've been driving. And obviously an insurance company will look and say, okay, how long have you been driving? The longer you've been driving, the less of a risk you're going to be, because you should be more experienced and a better driver.
That's why teen drivers, if you have a teen driver on your policy, it's already more expensive.
It's more expensive, exactly. And so that's one of the main risks. The other two risk factors that most directly influence your insurance rates would be moving violations and then also claims. The most common moving violation that I'll see when I pull a driving record for any policy, for any driver, is actually going to be speeding.
Me too.
Yeah. So speeding, that's what I was going to say. Joel's probably, his most common moving violation that you deal with is probably going to be speeding.
By far.
And, you know, that's just something that, once again, comes with experience, obviously, but something that is built into all of our cars now, that's going to help us regulate that speed, is the cruise control. And what I would encourage every driver, especially teenagers, to do when driving wherever you're driving would be use cruise control. You know, especially in our area, as quickly as the speed can drop from a 55 to a 35 or to a 25, it's best to use the cruise control, take your foot off the gas, let the car do the work, and then, you know, you're much less likely to get a ticket. And once again, once you get that ticket, the insurance company views it as a risk. Your risk increase, our risk in insuring you increases. We're going to charge you more money to insure you. The other factor I would talk about would be, which influences your safety or your claims, would be using your phone while driving. And obviously, the easiest thing to do to defeat that would be to stop using your phone.
Put it away.
Put it away. I looked up a couple of statistics on AAA this morning just while preparing for this. Two statistics I saw. One, 6 out of 10 teen accidents that occur in the United States are a result of texting or using a cell phone while driving. The other would be that texting while driving increases the chance of your chance of having an accident by 6%, it increases your chance to be 6 times more likely to have an accident than a drunk driver, which just shows you how influential using your cell phone in any way can be while driving. So, like I was saying at the beginning when I stuttered, the two things that you could, these things are meant to, one, obviously make you safer, and as a reward of you being safer, your insurance premiums will decrease over time with experience, especially for these young teenage drivers.
And with texting while driving, that is a relatively new phenomenon, and so right now it is prohibited by law. I mean, you can get a ticket, but it's not even considered a moving violation right now. But I would predict, I would guess that as more and more data becomes available on texting while driving and accidents that occur because of distracted drivers and texting while driving, you will see the penalty for that become more and more stiff.
Yeah.
Maybe even as stiff as drunk driving, because I think that the data shows that you're more likely to be involved in an accident when you are texting while driving than if you were drunk while you were driving. So it may be the case now that you think, oh, it's not a big deal, I can just do it and pay off the ticket. But that doesn't mean that sometime down the road that it becomes a much bigger deal. And and then when they look back in your driving history and see this, it could cause all kinds of problems for you down the road. So that was about 4 things that teen drivers can do and teen drivers need to know to help keep them safe, help keep their insurance low, and help keep them out of trouble. Anything else to add?
That's it. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks
So if people want to get up with you, what do they do?
If you want to get up with me, you can find me. I am in the Beaufort office on Live Oak Street, 1624 Live Oak Street. You can email me. You can find me on Facebook.
Phone number 728-4710.
4710.
We know that because our dad worked there for 20 years at North Carolina Farm Bureau.
Right.
Our brother-in-law, Kevin, who was also invited to be here today, but could not be, unfortunately. He'll be here at a later date. So if anybody else wants to join us for the party, we're having a good time. And, if you got something that you want to add to any of this kind of stuff, then please let us know. Otherwise, we will see you next time. And if you get a ticket, call a lawyer. Thanks.